Hey guys, this is Coach Cai, and of course you know that we are in our Love and Relationship Week. So we're talking today about the topic of to date or not to date. Well, I think this is going to be fun, and so of course, let's start off with me asking a couple of questions. Have you gotten to a place where you're so comfortable with your space, your time, your oneness? Is that you? Or maybe you're just trying to figure things out. You want to date, but you're not quite sure. Is it the right time? Is it the right space? Or is he or she the right person? Being aware that life goes on and people change, things happen, of course, makes it very important when you're making a decision about dating. Sometimes you feel anxious, right, about making that decision. And why not? Talking yourself through that is pretty crucial. So why don't you take a pen and a pad out and start taking notes? Because this is some hot stuff. Are you just telling yourself, I'm not ready yet, or I'm just not good enough for anybody yet because I haven't gotten to that place? Maybe it's about income. Maybe it's about the fact that you haven't lost that weight, or you haven't gained that weight, or possibly you just haven't reached that plateau that everyone else at your age has reached. Maybe you're divorced and been single for some time. Maybe you've gotten out of a long-term relationship and it just seems pretty funky. Or maybe you've gotten to the place where you just want someone else caring and loving in your space. It's cool. Stuff like that happens. Don't get it twisted. Everyone comes to the point that you are right now. Whether or not you've been contemplating dating for some time or you just started thinking about it, you're in the right place. So let's talk about this. Singleness is a process. I know you hear a lot of people say that it's a mindset. Well, let me just say this to you. There are several steps to becoming single. And there are several steps after that allows you to formulate what singleness is and what it's not for you in particular. I know everyone seems to think that singleness is the same. It's not. It's not the same for everyone. It's very different. And you define absolutely what singleness means. When it comes to dating, it's sort of the similar process, right? It's formulating what it looks like. It's thinking about what you and who you want to be within that process, because of course it's a process. And then once you get to a place where you're comfortable, then you make the other decisions to move beyond dating. But we're not talking about that today. First, let me say it's very crucial that you remain loving and caring with yourself in the process. Right? Don't beat yourself up. Sometimes we make it harder than it needs to be when we're trying to make that step into dating. And so I want to put something out there. And I'm hoping that you understand in a loving way where I'm coming from. There is no such thing as Mr. Right or Miss Right. However, that person who's right for me, that person who's right for you, that person who's right for her, that's what makes the difference. But there is no single entity called Mr. Right or Miss Right. So you don't want to miss out on things, because when you set yourself up to thinking, I'm looking for my Mr. Right, you're looking for someone, let's change the language, who is right for you at the time and space that you're in life. Let's talk about whether or not you make this a project for yourself or whether or not you go with the flow. Some people are planners, and so of course you're going to want to plan that out, right? You're going to want to know what dating looks like. You're going to want to know what you will and won't take into the dating scenario. And remember, we're just talking about dating. We're not talking about going into some deep relationship. We're talking about dating. So that when someone steps in, this is just a date. We're going out, we're getting to know each other. It's nothing more than that. And I think that's where a lot of people get it twisted. They don't recognize that a date is a date, right? You're not marrying this person when you decide to go out with them. You're trying to find out whether or not this person is in fact a match. And it doesn't need to be a match made in heaven, right? You need to be looking for whether or not this person is a match for you. Try to understand where you're going, and also try to understand that when that person's stepping into the dating scenario with you, they're at the same place. You're at equal footing. There shouldn't be an expectation of more, not when you start dating. Even in the midst of dating, unless you two have gotten to a place where you've decided that you want to move into another space in your relationship, keeping things simple in the dating phase will always be optimal and be much easier when it comes to looking down the road, because you will come to know the person over time. So because people move on in their situations, right? Their lives are a little different. So remember that you want people to accept you for who you are. But when you're stepping into that dating space, you also want to make sure that you keep an understanding that that person is who they are at that moment in time in their relationship and their life, right? Don't be so focused about, I don't want it to allow this person to somehow get in the way of my space, or, just think that this person's coming in to change your life. And trust me, there are people out there who will move quite quickly because they are so determined to find that perfect person for them, right? So in your dating process, you will always need to make sure that that significant person that you're dating understands where you are and your space, right? And so doing that, you need to be able to express your truth. A lot of people don't get to that place where they are able to do that because they feel, well, we're just dating, and so it's not important to me whether or not they know me, but it is important that they know you, that they understand where you're coming from, because you're laying the groundwork for things to either go further or to continue the status quo. But you want to be upfront with people. You want to take time out to make sure that as you're going through this getting to know process and the dating life, at some point you want to jump back, journaling wise, and look at where you were and where you are now. Because in that process, that's going to tell you whether or not you want to continue with the dating scenario with one person or two people. Oh, did I say something wrong? I didn't. Because it's super important that when you're dating, that you leave yourself open to get to know people. And there's nothing wrong with dating one or two people at the same time, as long as you're being transparent about the fact that you are dating. You are looking at the playing field. And so you've not come to a place where you want to make a decision in life about moving further in a relationship that you're just dating. And so it's important that you stay there, important that you let people know where you stand, and you hear them out when they tell you where they stand. At any given point, it's okay to stop dating an individual. It's okay to make the decision not to continue, right? Because you never want to waste another person's time, especially because you're looking back over your journal to see who you've become, right? People help you grow. Being in situations with them, coming upon the challenges in relationships help you grow. And if you find that an individual that you're dating is not adding value to your life, know when to cut it off. Know when to cut it off, and know when to move forward. A lot of times what we don't do is write down things that we're experiencing. We try to remember, right? And sometimes those memories fail us because they get clouded with the feelings of, I don't want to be alone, or, hey, this is just exactly what I thought it should be, or I'm not really clear on where I am. So it's always helpful to journal while you're in the dating process. Well, look, I hope this was really helpful. It's super important that you sit down and you think about how you get to the place that you want to be in your dating life. And know that in the beginning, make sure that you lay things out for yourself, knowing the direction you want to go with when you start dating others. So this has been Coach Cai, and of course, I believe in making life simple so that you can reclaim your life.